Phil's done again. Good evening. Welcome to day 28. It's been an absolutely dreadful day today, weather-wise at least. Oh man, there were days when window cleaning is not the fun job that I wish it was. Today was one of those days. Just really damp and drizzly the whole day. Thankfully, I didn't get soaked through anything, but yeah, that's one way to ruin your whole entire day. But no, it's time for another live stream. Obviously, I've got the stove on. Let me give you a little ganders. Using up some of that firewood that I collected from the Sharpen Oak clappers. I love that. Let me open up that door that you see that proper. Look at that. It's a lovely little burn. It's not a super clean burn. There is a little bit of moisture in those logs. You can probably see some of the little bit of smoke. Any problem with that is it might mean the chimney needs a little bit of a clean sooner than it would have. Let me put you back down. Evening Sparker, good to see you in. So another chill one today, just in the van. I really just don't have the energy to do a huge amount always after work, but especially on a day like today, it was just such a cold one. It kind of saps the energy out. So yeah, here I am. I'm about to make my hot chocolate. Oh no, good to see you, man. Whee. Oh, I say that, I've actually got to wash my mug up. Let me spin you around. I figure we might as well have a chat sort of stream this evening rather than, yeah, another night, another hot chocolate. I have a tendency on the cold evenings to have one after work. I don't always have one on the evenings when I have the boys because I don't do quite as much physical activity. But the hot chocolate is a really good way to kind of let my muscles sort of recover. But also, it's just a good way to get some protein into me. I had a bit of an easier dinner, so I didn't get a huge amount of protein with that. Had some, oh, excuse all the noise. I did have some corned beef with lunch, but my dinner was basically a microwave curry. Oh, wings tonight with blue cheese sauce. Well, I'll avoid. Well, none of that do I like. As no one knows, I'm not one for wings. But I know Noah will be enjoying that, and the blue cheese sauce as well, I guess. Give him a shout out in the chat if you're with Noah on that one. All right. You see how I deal with my draining my washing up, just putting it up there. That's one of my favourite things I did in the van actually, is put my draining rack above the sink. It saves so much space, but it also just makes so much sense. Rather than having a draining board that then all the water needs to slowly drip down into the sink through, it's just directly into the sink. I'm going to cheat a little bit though, and I'm just going to dry up quickly with a bit of kitchen roll. Kitchen roll. Van life is secret weapon for not getting too much moisture into the van. It's not as obviously good for the environment or whatever, and your pocket, I guess, as well, than having a proper tea towel. But the issue with a tea towel is I've got to dry that thing if I use it to dry something else up, and by the end of a load of drying up, I've got a nice wet towel that needs to be put somewhere and dried. And to be fair, I could put it in the toilet room behind me above the heated towel rail and let it dry in there with the extractor on. But it's something like putting a tea towel that I'm going to dry my washing up with in the same room as the toilet. I'm not keen on that. So, bit of kitchen roll it is, and not only does that dry a bit quicker, but once I'm done with the kitchen roll, I can just whop it straight in the bin, and I don't have to worry about it releasing the moisture back into the van, because moisture in a van is a definite big no-no. That is actually something I learned about travellers. So some of you OGs might recall that I've talked about at my Biggleswade spot. One time there was some English travellers who parked there, and they were all very much about how we're not like the Irish travellers and we won't leave loads of rubbish. They were exactly like the Irish travellers from their own words, because they did exactly what they said they weren't going to do. But one thing they did do is give me a little bit of a tour of their caravan, because it was a caravan, the sort that you pull behind the vehicle. Big old thing. Had a kitchen, had a shower, but they didn't use any of it. Not like that, because no water inside was there. All no water at all. Everything water related was done outside. They had big urns full of water, essentially like big metal things, and they had lots of buckets and things outside to use it all with. Hi, Errol. Yeah, I hope I'm saying that right. Good to see you in the chat. Hope I haven't missed anybody else. Let me just check now. It's just Nolan Sparker. Oh, a special hot sauce. That sounds like an innuendo. No. And I imagine your sauce would be hot, the amount of spicy food you eat. So, yeah. Oh, do you know what? I'll divvy out the milk first. I forgot this the last time I was doing my so now I stopped in at the shop today. I've got a better lunch for tomorrow. Ho, chicken biryanis. God, I love them. From the shop near my parents, they have those ones. I've tried a few of them and they're not always that good, but those ones, fantastic. There's nothing like a warm lunch. It's actually going to be warmer and sunnier tomorrow, but it's not going to get that warm. And I know what jobs that I've probably got left on for tomorrow. And I do not look forward to them. I'm going to be stuck at someone's massive mansion of a house for the best part of the morning, away from the van while I'm working, because I can't get the van anywhere near the building. Yeah, absolute nightmare. So it'd be nice to come back and have a proper lunch. But anyway, I was talking about these travellers. Yeah, so no water at all inside of the caravan, which, to be fair, makes sense, because it is really difficult to stop like any condensation and therefore mold and damp forming in a vehicle when you've got a lot of people. And I do notice the difference between just having me on my own and then me and the boys, and when there was 4 of us in here, it's night and day between how much water you sort of build up in the environment. And they had 8 people in the one caravan. 8 people. I was like, the mind boggles how much moisture that must be creating. We've got Turtle in from Zimbabwe, but it lives in India, and some people call me Coon. I'll go with Turtle because that's what I can see on the screen. But lovely to have you in. Hope you're subscribed. Yeah, so yeah, 8 people in one caravan, just ridiculous in my mind. Just not even just because of the space management, because the way they were sleeping and how they had it all set out just blew my mind. It's one of those things where I'm sure that there's some people who watch this, like a family of 3 or 4, see me living in a van and think, how do you fit everything in there? Like, and hard to get your mind around it. But then for me, it's like the same thing. I saw 8 people in this one caravan. I was just like, how does that even happen? How on earth? But they were making it work. But the real thing that got me was just how, like, I could see why there was no water all in there. I was just flabbergasted that you would even try to get 8 people in one little thing like that. Because the problem with the caravans as well is they're not really built necessarily for all year round in terms of insulation. Mine's are maybe a little bit superior to what you might get in a standard sort of built caravan. And I've obviously got my hot water system to help with the corners and stuff. Yeah, I just feel like 8 people in that one caravan and no kind of special stuff to make sure that it doesn't build up condensation. Yeah, if they'd had even a drop of water in there in the sink or the shower, nightmares. So obviously for them, no tea towels on that inside either. Din says, how many people have you kidnapped? Give the girls back. Who says it was girls? Who says it was? No, it's loads of middle-aged men. That's who I've been kidnapping. I'm joking. I do seem to track a lot well with the middle-aged guys, especially the ones who seem to think that I'm some level of attractiveness. I want to talk to Tim about this and find out if there's some sort of vibe that I give off. that seems to attract a certain type into my chat sometimes. I'm very curious about that. Mind you, that said, I met Louise through my channel, so it's not just the middle-aged men who like other men that seem to be attracted to me. Now, I don't understand that one. All right, that's fine. I don't know. Or fine? Do you mean fine? As in, like, it's a bad thing if it was young girls, but it's all right if it's middle-aged men. You can take as many of those as you want. We don't need them. I'm one of those. I'm one of them myself. Oh dear. Right. I'm just whapping everything. This is what I normally do when I'm doing it in the morning, but I'm feeling super tired, so I'm even putting my creatine in this. I started doing a thing a little while ago as part of my diet, was to have a little bit of creatine each day as well, and that's been helping quite a lot, to be honest. That's a top tip if you're trying to lose a bit of weight. Make sure you're having plenty of protein. Try to keep your calorie intake low, obviously, that's the main thing, but decent level of protein. Make sure you're getting your vitamins, minerals, but yeah, a bit of creatine in there. Not loads, not like the bodybuilders would do. They have like 10-20 grams of this stuff. But I found a little bit of information online that it helps with lack of sleep, like you're not feeling the sleep, and it's also basically a way of helping your muscles retain more water and essentially tap into their energy stores a bit easier, a bit quicker, which is why it helps with muscle build. Not that it does anything to help with muscle build, it just helps you use your muscles longer. And I was like, okay, so what you're saying is it helps with energy levels. And if there's one thing I struggle with when I'm dieting, it's energy levels. I get really tired all the time and I don't produce much heat. I thought if there's anything that can help with that, I'll give it a shot. And I can attest it has worked a treat. Just give that a stir. If I take it off screen, it could look like I'm doing something else. Old Vladdy, if he was in, would like that. That was funny the other night with Vladdy up in the woods, and everyone trying to get me to turn around and look behind me. I have considered the idea. I considered the idea if I was on my own on the 31st, which I won't be. Louise is going to come and see me, so I won't be on my own. But if I was on my own, I was considering the idea of going back up to the same spot, but taking some kind of, like, I don't know, if I get something from Poundland or somewhere, some sort of ghoul type Halloween decoration, and hang it up in the trees somewhere so that it was behind me, just sort of not so it was really obvious, but just so you could sort of see it, maybe some eyes and like a person shaped kind of object behind me somewhere, just so you could just see it in, like, just in the light, just enough just to make out that there was something there, and just like freak everybody out. Just have it so like there'd be people who watch the stream and just after a few minutes be like, what is that behind? Is that something behind? I'd be like, just me ignoring it. Well, that'd be quite a good one for Halloween. And it would have worked out, I guess, for the I could have done like a full camp, and that would have worked out for the Stealth Camping Alliance challenge. But I've just got too much other stuff on, and I'm sort of focused on dates with Louise at the moment, so that's what I'm like. I kind of focus on what's important to me rather than trying to satisfy every little thing out there. James says, I have a Jimmy Savile costume for Halloween. That is scary. That's terrifying. Am I AI? No, I am not. I'm a truly human being. Of course, that's what an AI might say, I suppose. I don't think they've quite got AI up to the standard where they can make a hot chocolate this good yet, to be honest. So we're safe. We're safe for now. Might get me kicked out of the work party. If you've got kicked out of the work party, you know your costume was absolutely bang on. I like that. Oh dear. If you've got some friends, they could. There's some other choices for them as well. They could pick some other characters of the same kind of field, shall we say. You could go as like as a theme. You could all get booted out, and then you could go out for like proper party somewhere else. You'd be all right. Yeah, you can see my cloths hanging up here. I went through loads of cloths today. Look, when it's damp, I end up going through tons of them because you do like one house and then you've got to change cloth because it's just got soaked. And then I just dry them off. I don't even need to wash them because it's just that they're damp. And then the next day I'll use them. But in the summer, I'll go through quite a few houses on one cloth just because they don't get dirty that quickly. They're just wiping the edges, the cloths are. Most of the work's done with a squeegee. Noah said that I should probably do some video of me doing the window cleaning. I don't know if anyone would actually be interested in that. I think it might have like a bit of an ASMR kind of quality, or like these people who do the kind of repetitive things on some of the channels, so it could have that kind of appeal. But I have no idea how I'd set up that for filming. A bit tough. A bit of a tricky film. You can see how much I stir this stuff. Basically, I'm making a paste right now, just out of all the ingredients, if you can make that out. Like a bit of a gloopy paste. Ooh. It's a bit runnier than I would normally go for, but I wasn't paying a huge amount of attention. I'm always distracted when I'm on the stream. So, has anyone got any plans for bonfire night coming up soon as well? I've been checking out a few in the local area. Bonfire night's like my favourite. Obviously, we've got some international people here. They might not do bonfire night. I'm aware that they, like Guy Fawkes, essentially, Guy Fawkes Night is a predominantly UK thing, I think. I do wonder if any other countries have taken that over though. It's like Halloween. Was that an American thing, and then we've taken it over? I'm sure that's like the way around that went. It's weird. Like everything when you're doing it as a kid feels like it came from here, but I remember hearing somewhere that it came from America. I don't know. So as you can tell, it's just a random chat one this evening. I'm not even doing a board game. Just hanging out. Let's have a little look at the fire. Make sure it's still going. Ooh. It is not going that well. Let me set you there, and I'm gonna just mess with that a bit. We'll get a little bit of smoke there. I'm just gonna set that up a bit better. The lugs have stayed separated, but they need to actually be together a certain amount. There we go. That's a lot better now. You can see in there. Well, let me turn that around. You might get a better look if I don't have the light on, anything like that. Yeah, there you go. Sort of. Wow, that's so much reflection. There you go. That's better. Oh, excuse me. Am I in a bunker? No, I'm in a van. But you could almost think of it like a bunker. Just warming up some hot chocolate. You can see I've got my, there you go. But that's why it's a small place, it's a van. So, Thomas Caldwell, what's the topic tonight? Hey, hi Thomas. Just a chit chat, Thomas, honestly. I've been randomly talking about like just some like minor van life stuff. Meeting some English travellers, a bit like Irish travellers, but they say they're different. Hey, hi Silent Damsel, good to see you as well. Yeah, it's, how's everyone's day been? I was talking about my day earlier. It's damp and cold here. It's a proper cold night as well, so that's why I've got extra logs in the fire, using up the ones I got from the clappers. Good evening, Kane. How's your day been? Yeah, how you doing, Silent Damsel? You had a good one? Right, we're about there with this. Let's give it a little blow just so that the skin sticks to one side. Then it doesn't fall into my hot chocolate. pro tip for you when you're making hot chocolate. You want it just starting to make a skin. And if you don't want that falling in, you just get it stuck to one side. Although I will say, I don't know if you can see it in there, it doesn't look very appetizing, the old skin, I will say. Yep, got a log burner in the van. How else was I going to heat my van up? He who likes fire must have stove in van. Something says I'm okay, just playing some sweaty Fortnite with friends. Nice. To be honest, my day's been alright. It's just been work and it's just been miserable and cold, but can't complain really. Nothing went wrong. It's just such would say All Hallows Eve does not have an American origin. A quick search. Really? So, Sparker's going to tell me then. So where does it all come from then? Because that's the sort of, this is the thing, I haven't looked it up. I just remember somebody on YouTube saying it at some point. So I would be curious, because these things get started and you never know. I'm not curious enough to have actually looked it up yet myself. Oh dear. There we go. You see how I take my time with the stirring. Literally stirring it it's not just pour it in and stir either. I've got to pour a little bit, stir some, pour a little bit more, stir some more, so I'll eventually get it all in. And then won't waste the chocky on the spoon. We've got a nice little froth on the top. Bet it's going to be hot now. You know what? I've forgotten something. In all the talking, I forgot to add the sugar. So that is really bitter. Like super, super bitter. I'm just going to get a long spoon. We'll just throw it in now. Shouldn't really hurt anything. It'll dissolve pretty quick and easy. Silly me. 3 spoonfuls of that. Let's get it mixed. Triple P's in. I recognise Triple P. Good to see you back in. What van do I have? That is a great question. I have a Peugeot Boxer. It's a Luton van, a maxi mover to be precise. They do like the conversion, so they get like the chassis, and obviously the cab, and basically it just has a chassis behind it. They build the shell of this thing. And then I ripped off all the metal off the walls, took the doors off at the back, took the bulkhead out, stripped this thing down to basically just the walls, the floor and the ceiling, and then built everything inside myself. But yeah, Peugeot Boxer it is. Vauxhall Combo Van 2018. Yeah, I think this is similar year, I think. It was 2.5 years old when I got it. I've had it now for... I've been in it for 4.5 years. We had it for about a year before it's for 5.5 years. So yeah, this might be 2017 to be fair. Yeah, I think it is. That rings a bell. I can never remember. It's the sort of thing that you might need to know when you're doing your insurance or something. But you just put your reg number in it just knows it all, and it writes it all in there. But I never remember any of it. Yeah, thankfully I don't have sliding doors in this. One of the beauties of this is it was literally a box shape, so it doesn't have like the kind of like the tapered walls or anything, and that makes it a lot easier for designing everything in, and it means that I can do really cool stuff like the if I can get past the ladders here, you can sort of see my high stores up there. So I've got storage all up high. This is like almost like a loft space because the flue pipe goes up through it and then up through the ceiling, and this bit gets nice and warm in there, so I keep all like my towels. And then behind the ladder here, you got more high storage. But to give you an idea of how tall that is, I'm 6 foot, and like that's me at full reach. I can just about touch that. I can just about touch that from here. I mean, the table's in the way a little bit. So yeah, that's me not tiptoeing, and that's the bottom of the high store. The ceiling itself is way too tall. 9-foot ceilings in here. I can't get anywhere near. Look. So nice and big in here. I think a lot of van lifers, when they do come in, the first thing they often think is like, whoa, it's like the TARDIS in here, or it's like huge. And it's that height that gives it that feel. Also the layout, I try to keep it as open as possible. But it's that height. And I remember CJ came in, and the first thing came out of his mouth, oh, I can really stand up in here. And I was like, well, yeah. But then I thought about it, his van, it's not a super high roof, so I don't think he can even stand up in his, which is crazy. Oh, I've got to go back and read Sparker's bit. Sorry, Spark, I've missed that. Oh, Noah's already gone to go buy some blue cheese, but we've got goes back to 1600s and a Shakespeare reference to hollowed out pumpkins. Really? I did not think it went back that far. That's mad. But is that the Hallows Eve bit, or is that proper like Halloween with the trick-or-treating and all that? Is it maybe the trick-or-treating that the Americans started with all the sugar and candy? Maybe that's what they did. I don't know. Or maybe they didn't do any of this at all. I know that they're big on it though, or at least parts of the country are. Seems like a really big thing over there, where here it's kind of like, oh, well, it is a big thing here. All the shops start selling everything, don't they? Let me rinse this quickly. I'll let you see what I'm up to. I've got the proper pull-out tap. Gonna have a pull-out tap with my altered nozzle aerator, so that I don't waste too much water. That atomises the water properly, which is good. All right, let me scroll down. No, not Horlicks, a hot chocolate. Well, basically cocoa, actually. You call this a hot cocoa because I made it with cocoa and sugar. But I've added all my other ingredients. My, what do you call it? It's my protein and all that sort of stuff. So, let's see if we can't choose a nice place to sit. I could sit on the sofa, but I'll sit here just to give it a little bit of a better view. I say better, just a different view. I'll tilt you guys down a little bit, so there you go. Oh, that makes sense. There we go. That's pretty good. So excuse the slurping noises. I don't know if that comes across very much, but yeah, literally just a chat and a quick one today. I could have gone over to the Sharpeno clappers again and gone up for some more wood, but it's just too damp and miserable. I figure maybe I'll do that tomorrow, because I'm going to need some more. I've used up 2/3 of what I got in terms of the big wood, so I might throw a few extra small little ones in before that dies down too much this evening, just to give it a boost in here. But it's quite warm now in here, but outside it's just miserably cold. I think it's 7 degrees or something, I think I saw on Met Office. Fair question, Triple P. Few things got me into the van. To be honest, it probably all started when I was younger, and I always had this idea of like building something in a van. I think it comes from a time, one of my earliest memories I can remember is going to see one of those like VW vans with my parents. The kind of like, you know, like quite colourful with the kind of white trims, and it had like all the, you know, kitchen inside, that sort of thing. And I just remember being fascinated by it. And when I first started doing couriering after I came out of university, I had eventually had my own van. Well, it wasn't when I first started, it was, but I don't know, about a year or so in, I got my own van, and that's the first time I became self-employed. And I remember I got a futon for put in the back of it, and I had like a decent setup with a TV, and I had a generator, put some lights in, just some really basic stuff, just to give myself almost like a living space. Didn't have like a kitchen facilities or anything like that. I had thought about doing a thing like that, but it was just a place to get away from my parents' house, because I was living with my parents back then. And when you're in your 20s and you're back at home after uni, you kind of want your own space a lot more. And my bedroom just wasn't cutting it, because your parents could come in and all sorts of, it wasn't having it. So I had I did that with my van and would hang out with a couple of friends. But then I stopped doing that, got into a serious relationship. We did all the usual stuff, lived in a house, rented. And I think that was the thing that really got us when we were renting. We moved a couple of times, and the last place we were at when we had both boys, the landlord was a proper a-hole, like a proper bit of work. The sort of thing where he'd deliberately put off for a year fixing the latches on the upstairs bedrooms so that a breeze would just swing them wide open. It would be really dangerous for like the boys who were sleeping there, but also just a security risk. Like, and he was deliberately doing these things, and if there were leaks, he wouldn't fix them for ages. And all the while, just whacking up the rent as often as he could, as much as he could. And we got to the point where we're like, we don't want to rent anymore. We don't keep giving somebody else money. We don't want to be living under somebody else's rule. And we looked at buying, and I'll be honest, being self-employed, the both of us, and at the time, you know, we weren't making a lot of money. To be honest, we had prioritised spending time with the boys and not having a huge income. Without a huge income, being self-employed, we just couldn't get on the property ladder. Simple as that. So we looked around. Well, I looked around at different ideas. We thought about canal boats. We thought about sharing with other families, and in the end, I settled on I could do a van because I love building things, and I think that stuff from my childhood was still in my head. And I'd seen a few like YouTubers and whatnot doing van life, and always been fascinated with it. I figured maybe we give it a shot. Convinced the wife, and yeah, we gave it a shot, and it was good. It was a good choice. Obviously, we're not together anymore, and that's a separate issue, to be honest, completely. But I still love it on my own. So yeah, but that's how we got into the van. Just literally something that I'd kind of always wanted to do, a bit of financial stuff, and yeah, just overall just wanting to have a place of my own without having to pay a bank a huge amount of interest, or and to be honest, I wouldn't be able to do it anyway. So we've got a question from Traveller Mac. Do you travel throughout Europe or just UK? Just UK so far. I don't have a huge urge to go elsewhere, but I would like to do a bit of traveling, especially with the boys once they get older. The idea, I think, is to do a fair bit of Europe, just because that's probably quite easy to jump on a ferry or maybe get onto the Eurotunnel, where whatever gets me in, like the cheapest option to get over into Europe. Basically, that's going to be the job. Whatever's the cheapest to get me in the van and the boys somewhere else, and we just drive around. Yeah, I could see us doing that. I save up a bit of money so I don't have to work for a while, and off we go. Would be lovely, but it's not like a huge deal. Most of the time we've stayed in the UK. We've gone up to like the Pennines and the Lake District a couple of times. I do the Peak District a lot. Done Wales a few times. The South Coast is quite a favourite of mine at the moment. Just all along the South Coast, just amazing areas. Yeah, but often I'm just in this area just for work, so I don't travel like all the time. I have some van life friends who have, you know, they're up and down the country all the time. Chalk Pieces, God bless you, mate. Hope it really goes well. I'm renting my house now, so I know the feeling with landlord. Yeah, landlords, man. Like, it's not a universally bad thing to be a landlord, but my lord, there's a lot of bad ones out there. Wow. Oh, Attila's in. Hi, Attila. Great to see you. Chalk Pieces, he's 52 in a couple of weeks. Ah. It ain't far off my birthday. I'll be 44. So you've got a few years on me, but yeah, mine's not far away now. Yeah, about 2 weeks as well. Yeah, do you know, if I had the choice to get back on the property ladder, I might, but it would have to be something with a lot of land. I don't think that I'd want just like a house in a town somewhere. What I really want is a plot of land somewhere where I could build stuff and do my own thing. What would be awesome is something big enough to do some level of campsite for other van lifers to come and visit and stay, and obviously people who do touring as well. My parents have a motorhome now, they could come and stay, that sort of thing. And I think it'd be a good way to generate a bit of money and pay for like myself to live and whatnot. What we've got here? Triple saying you pay for parts and labour on the van with double A around £90. That's not bad. That's not bad. Triple says 14th November. Oh, close. 2 days off. 2 days off. So, how are you doing, Attila? Now that you're in, I see you said hi, but yeah, how are you doing? How's your day been? Do you know, it's great to see a few people coming back in now that we've had before. It's really great. We've got some new regulars in. That's cracking. That means we're sort of making headway on this thing. I know my channel's small at the moment. I don't always draw in like a lot of people, but the people that we have here are absolutely legends. They really are. Every one of my regulars is just a top person to have in the chat. So yeah, cheers to all you guys. But new guys, yeah, always great to see you in, especially if you're going to come back and revisit it. So yeah, that's putting a smile on my face this evening. That's warming up the day. Even for these random chat ones. I do need to get out and do some more stuff. We were full of action the week like just gone with the boys. Just so much stuff happening. I think we were somewhere doing something almost every day. I've done a couple of things this week, but yeah, it's pretty tough to do stuff when I've had a full day of work and I'm feeling a bit tired. I see you, Triple P. Take it easy. Yeah, have fun, mate. What was you saying? I hope everything works out. North Wales, it's a beautiful place to travel, such as. Well, do you know what? I'm going to have a crack at it. So it's a cl at the bit, isn't it? The double L. Llandudno? Yeah, with a really dodgy English accent. I hope that was somewhere close. Probably miles off. But yeah, I've been to like Snowdonia a couple of times, and yeah, I love Snowdonia for the walks and that. Me and Noah have had some crazy travels over there. Right, I think we're going to call that it though. We've got Triple P leaving, and we've had a few people in. I need to get some editing done. I meant to do some yesterday and I didn't get any done because I ended up just chatting with Louise for like the rest of the evening. So I really need to get something done on my video. I've got no editing done on my next video at all, and that's going to be due out in about a week now. So yeah, I've got to make some headway. Great having everyone in. Thanks for turning up. Really appreciate all of you. Hope to see some of you again soon. But for now, have fun.